We know each other. He's a friend from work.
Hell yes, I get to ride the dragon.
What the hell's wrong with you people?
I know Kung Fu.
Tank, you want to switch? You want to switch?
No, I'm good. I got it.
Stay down.
I could do this all day.
If you had to transform into one mythical creature and then get married to a different mythical creature.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Maximum effort.
How about a magic trick?
HR.
Not an
Call
animal.
HR. Is HR?
Somebody call HR down here. That man is playing Galaga.
Welcome to the Nerds from Work. Is that me?
That's you now. Try it again.
One day I'll get it. Welcome to the Nerds from Work, your weekly escape into the world of geeks, nerds, and guess what? This week we're actually going to cover news because Brandon is not here. So we're going to do something actually that means something. That's so weird. We're back to the original trio. We don't have to worry about any kind of nonsense from Brandon. Has anybody heard from Brandon? Do we know what he's doing?
He's shooting blood somewhere because he was bit by a cobra after watching Cobra Kai.
Oh, he was bit by a cobra. That makes sense.
That actually makes more sense than what I had thought. So
Yeah, that makes sense. Brandon bit by a cobra. He lives a dangerous life, that little one.
All those
But
dating
anyway.
sites? Yeah.
I'm Jason Miller, and you're listening to The Nerds from Work. You can find us at TheNerdsFromWork.com, where Naru actually updates a whole bunch of stuff, and we actually give him a corner so he can talk about a whole bunch of other crap. And you can find all of our other social media for Instagram and Twitter and everything else on there. Also our Patreon, which Tank set up.
woo
Woo! And Brandon's not here because Brandon didn't do any of it.
woo.
But anyway, with me as always, I've got Josh Tankersley
Yo, what's going on, everybody?
and Naruik Bajay, as if you guys.
What up?
So this week, okay, I had an overload. All right, but first, we're gonna need these. We're gonna need those. You have to make a sound when you drink, Naru. You have to
I
make a
did.
sound. Okay. So, I want to start by saying shame on Tank for jumping into the game so late. Okay. Tank decided to start watching Game of Thrones like
3 weeks
2
ago?
weeks
4 weeks ago?
Yeah. Don't give yourself any extra credit, okay? It was 2 weeks. The fans can go back and listen to. I don't know why they would, but they can. So he just started Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones is now over, okay? And two of the largest geekdom, I would say, to happen in 2019, Avengers Endgame and the series finale of Game of Thrones. Now, Tank, if you want to give us 3 minutes, I want to rant on this really quick. Notice I went straight to it. We didn't even get into what you guys have been up to. Just give us 3 minutes and we'll get into the rest of it.
Text me when you're done.
Okay, bye, Mom.
Bye.
Nice red underwear.
Thank you.
All right.
Thought it was pink.
Yeah, well, to each their own. Naru,
Yeah.
do you agree with me that Avengers Endgame, while amazing, was a large peak for nerddom in 2019? A good peak.
Super high.
Endgame was great.
Absolutely.
Now, the end of Game of Thrones, would you say, is the exact opposite?
I'd say the season is definitely the opposite.
It's fucking terrible. It was terrible.
I will give the season the same exact, like it's crap overall. But considering what they did from 1 to 5, I'm gonna give the actual finale a 6. Like possibly 6. If I was gonna be generous, I'd maybe give it a 6.5, but I give it a 6.
So that's funny because IMDb actually gave it a 6.5 out of 10.
There you go.
I would give it a solid what the fuck. So literally like 20 minutes before we recorded, I watched a thing on ESPN where Aaron Rodgers,
Right.
so he actually played one of the soldiers for Cersei while they were storming the town.
Really?
Yeah.
Didn't
Green
know.
Bay Packer Aaron Rodgers.
Okay.
He's in the show. They asked him what he thought of the season finale, and he said, crap. It was crap. And they're like, well, what do you mean? He was like, What do you mean Bran has the best story? 3 episodes ago, he said he wasn't even Bran anymore. Like, what do you mean he has the best story? No, you want to know who has the best story? Jon Snow has a good story. Daenerys has a great story. And he listed every other character besides Bran.
For real. Arya has a fantastic story. She killed a White Walker, dude.
Arya has
killed the Night King.
Great story. Sansa has a good story.
Fantastic story.
But no, Bran has the best story. Are you fucking kidding me?
Oh, man.
Fucking kidding me.
The writing so let us down this season. It's ridiculous. Like, the overall, the funny thing is where they plan to, like, you can still see the broad strokes of where George R.R. wanted them to go. So the broad strokes make sense and the payoff makes sense. The way they got there is like driving in the crappiest car with the worst, like, it's just, there's so many things that's wrong, man.
So here's another thing, right? My wife pointed this out while we're watching it, and I just went, honey, it's not the original writer, so you can't really blame them. I'm with you. What the fuck does the Night's Watch do now? Like, they were protecting against the White Walkers and the Northmen, but now they're cool with the North, and they're cool with, like, all the White Walkers are dead, so the fuck do you do in the Night's Watch?
John asked the same question in the show. Like, there's still a Night Watch?
There will always be. That means jail.
He's like, there's still a Night Watch?
Yeah.
Okay. Basically, I just took that to mean that they were basically telling, you know, Grey Worm, okay, he's gonna go life in prison. But Grey Worm's like, okay, he leaves, and they're like, yeah, you know what it is. You can just keep going. Just keep going north. Just keep going, dude.
Dude, it was so bad.
The number of little things, like there's parts in that show where it's like the same writers forgot the stuff they literally wrote 4 episodes before. Like for example, Euron Greyjoy is fighting Jaime. Okay, they're fighting for their lives. First of all, there's no reason why that fight should be so close. Secondly, let's assume it does get that close. You do stab Jaime, and Euron is gloating. And what does he say? I'm going to be remembered as the guy who took out Jaime Lannister. And my first thought was, didn't you just kill a dragon a couple?
Yeah.
Like, who kills a dragon and wants to brag about killing Jaime? Who the hell is Jaime?
The season was so bad. And 7, I said it last year, 7 was rushed. Like, I feel like 7 had so much potential, but they just crammed it into a short amount of episodes and just skipped a whole bunch.
7 was rushed. I agree.
7 was rushed. 8 was shit. The finale to me was shit. It was not earned. It was like, my wife wanted to stop watching halfway through.
7 was rushed. It's like cooking a meal and you don't prepare it properly. So of course, when you eat 8, you're gonna hit the bathroom. So that's basically what happens. Like, oh my God, people ate it and puked it up halfway through. Like, they're sabotaging people. They're shortchanging characters. There's basically character assassination of Daenerys. Jon makes very little sense in some of his motivations. I have no idea why Tyrion goes from being super smart to super dumb halfway through the entire thing. Sansa apparently is the only person to shine through because everybody else looks so stupid. You know, and I
love Sansa, how everyone else is like, you know what, Bran's a good choice. Which, had I been on the High Council, I would have been like, what the fuck did he do?
Right.
No, wait. Before I say yes, like, what the fuck did you do? Like, and then he's like, oh, why do you think
you gave Arya a knife? That's it?
Yeah. Wait. You came so far because you knew you were gonna be king?
Oh no, and that's another thing. Like, hold up. What? I'm not gonna lie. The second he said that, I out loud started yelling. And you know I don't do stuff like this. I'm just yelling, "You bastard! You bland-faced bastard! What do you mean you came here? Why do you think I came all this way? Really? I thought you can't see the future. I thought 2 episodes ago you just said you don't want anything. I want nothing. Like, what do you mean he came here for this?
Dude, it was the shittiest ending. Like, there were parts of the finale, right, where I was okay with it, where Jon kills Daenerys. Saw it coming, and it was okay. I was
Surprised
like,
me when it happened, but I saw it coming.
I was like, okay, got it. The dragon not killing Jon, Loved the way that the dragon and Daenerys left. Loved it.
Loved
Like,
it.
that-
I thought that was a missed
So
opportunity.
poetic.
I thought that was a missed opportunity, though. I
Oh,
thought
for sure.
Drogon could have lost his shit and tried to burn John, and then it would not work because John doesn't burn anyway. Like he's
Right. John doesn't burn, or it would understand that he is of the same bloodline.
right.
Because it's not because she was the one that raised him. It was because he is also a Targaryen. Like,
Exactly.
They
Like, that would have
understood.
been the visual representation of the fact that, because otherwise, what's the friggin' point of him being a Targaryen?
Right.
The whole thing of him being a Targaryen is that he has a connection to the dragons and he has a claim to the throne. If you're not going to give him the claim to the throne, then establish the connection to the dragons by having the dragon rage, try to kill him, and then finally accept that really he is one of us, and then pick up Daenerys, and then Jon gets on his back, and then they all fly off.
Yeah.
And you
Like
can
that,
have him
you know
come back
what?
to
That would have been a great. Like, he hated killing Daenerys. He gets on the back of the dragon, and they all leave.
Right.
You know, like, he doesn't want the throne anyway, so he leaves. Like,
Exactly.
that would have been beautiful.
And then months later, they have this big meeting, and then he shows up because they say he should show up. Somebody reaches out to him.
Yeah.
I don't want this.
Yeah,
I don't
that-
deserve
that
it.
would have been
I killed our
beautiful.
queen. I don't deserve it.
Game of Thrones ended with a missed opportunity. Let's say that, because we've got a lot of topics to cover, and it could be the Jason and Naru show all night on this topic alone. Trust me. But we've got other things, and I don't want Tank to feel bad. So I'm gonna bring little Tank back. But, dude,
Look, at this point, the only thing that could make me kind of really, I mean, they stuck a landing, not the landing. And I'll also be honest, that's why I said I actually am okay with the ending, considering how bad the last two seasons were. If the last two seasons were great, I would have been so pissed off at that ending. That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh yeah. All right, Tank texted me back. He said,
Hey, Mom.
okay.
By the way, that's what I thought Bran should have said. Just said, okay. Say nothing else.
All right, guys. So we're gonna actually jump from Game of Thrones because that was massive.
Guess what we're gonna jump to? We're gonna jump to.
Let's go to John Wick 3 because that kind of ties in with what
Really,
we
dude?
were doing.
You
Yeah,
had
that jumps in with what we were doing. John Wick 3.
You had an obvious segue. I was really hoping you'd take it.
Yeah, dude. Segue to what we did last week. We've already talked about what you and I did on Saturday, okay?
I
Or
was here
Sunday.
last week. That's why. I don't know what you got to say. Yeah.
All right, so John Wick 3 released last week. All three of us went to go see it. Naru, please go first. So, okay, let's give background first.
Why are we giving background?
Because I want everyone to understand.
I feel like you're
Naru
going to
has
sabotage
this much
me. in
fighting
this
experience.
background.
If you're listening on
I knew
iTunes, my hand is up in the 0.
I knew
Tank
it.
and I have been fighting for years now.
Yeah.
So that is the background in martial arts and weapons. Weapons, Naru has 0 weapons training. Tank was in the Army, and I was in the Marine Corps. That is where our weapons training comes from.
I have fired a gun a few times.
At least you've done that.
Yeah.
Can you hear that? That's a golf clap.
Really? I thought that was my applause.
All right. Okay, Naru. So what did you think of John Wick 3 compared to John Wick 1 and 2?
It's one of the first. It's probably the first movie I've ever seen. That's the third part in the series that made me think, "Oh hell yeah, I want to see part 4 now." That's the first time it's happened to me in forever, and that's for one simple reason. They just went like I really like this world. Okay, like everybody knows I like the John Wick world. I used to say, remember that hotel? I forget the other movie they did, Hotel.
Oh, the one about the doctor.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, I wish both of these worlds existed in the same, space, because I
Right.
really like them exploring this world. And John Wick 3 took us through the world. I saw some cool things about it. And now they basically ended with the whole thing flipping over on his head. And now it's like, okay, the heroes of the show, of the movie are going to come. There's going to be a civil war, more or less, in this world. And I want to see what that's like. Having said that, I will say this. The things I liked about the movie were the story. I like the fights. Y'all can sue me for that. I like the fights, even though you can tell that the guys from the raid are basically just trying to be, all right, let's slow down for old Mr. Wick here. Let's slow down for old Keanu Reeves. Let's not make him look so bad in the entire end fight scene. But I really enjoyed it. I mean, I enjoyed the experience was cool. It was like I was in the theater with a bunch of guys, and we were probably the guys you would hate in the movie theater for the first time forever for me. It was just crazy. It was a crazy experience.
So we also went with a group of guys.
Yeah.
All of which
Wait, y'all
have a lot of
my group?
extensive training.
Oh crap.
Yeah. We'll say that. That's safe to say, right?
It's safe.
Yeah, that's safe to say. So we went in, and Tank and I have said this numerous times. Like, John Wick is my favorite comic book styled movie. Like, you know, when we did our own little gauntlet, that was mine. And I bought all the John Wick comics. I did all of it. Okay. And Tank has also liked John Wick.
Yeah.
For a long time. This movie, to me, it had pieces that set up the world, because I've said it before on here, there won't be a John Wick 4.
There is going to be a John Wick 4.
Is it called John Wick
Yes.
4 or is it called Ballerina?
No, it is.
Okay,
It
so
was just confirmed to be John Wick 4 2021, I think.
2021. Okay. So there is another movie coming out in this, so they call it the Wikiverse. It's called Ballerina.
Yeah, 2021.
So the Ballerina is another movie that's coming out apparently after John Wick. The Continental is a TV show that they're trying to do based off this world to world build. Now, if you've seen John Wick 3, you know that there's one ballerina that has multiple close-ups in this movie. We think that is going to be the girl that takes on the role, because now you see how she comes up, and she's going to be the next, because Keanu Reeves can't do it forever. So John Wick will die eventually, and this girl will carry on. And I hope that we do get a lot of movies out of this world, but it shifts and the storytelling changes. I thought that storytelling was weak. The world building was great. The storytelling was weak. The action sequences were weak by a long shot compared to John Wick 1. Those were brutal. And John Wick 2, the catacomb scene was amazing.
Oh, yeah.
There is one scene in John Wick 3 where everyone in our row went, damn!
Damn!
And it's when he got the shotgun and he turned Homeboy's head into a cantaloupe.
Fucking donut, yeah.
Boom!
That shit was crazy.
I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was fucking awesome. And there are always cool parts in John Wick. But to me, this one, you're allowed to write one bad chapter, right? Like, you can allow yourself one bad chapter, just don't make two. So every franchise has that 1 week season, 1 week movie, 1 week something, right?
Except Game of Thrones.
And if you look at your favorite TV show, it has one shitty season where you're like, this season really fucking sucked. But then they pick it back up the next season and it's good again. And I'm hoping that's what they do with John Wick, because criticism is high for John Wick 3. So what do you say, Tank? What are your thoughts?
So I agree. And also, I think The Ballerina is going to be a prequel, because we know from this movie he essentially grew up or was like adopted into that Russian syndicate or whatever it was that was doing all the ballerina stuff. So to me, that's going to be a prequel of him, not necessarily of him learning, but I think we will get snippets of him training, but it's going to be about the ballerinas doing their stuff. So I think that's where they're going to go with the ballerina angle. But for me, I agree.
Ballerinas from Belarus.
Okay. Sure.
Okay.
I think to me what made me almost, after the movie was done, say that I didn't enjoy the movie was the story. It didn't make any sense. He went over here, made it. He fought, killed all these people, got over here, made a resolution, and then he gets to go okay, prove that resolution, flips. So then they spend 15 minutes doing all that. Okay, I have this new resolution, it flips. It's like there was nothing by the end of the movie, like nothing, we didn't get anywhere. Like, yeah, they say, or I guess maybe a different way to put it is this whole movie is a setup for John Wick 4. I was going into this movie as the closing of the trilogy. I did the same thing with the Inheritance Cycles, the books, but the Aragon books. When I read that third book, I was reading it like it was supposed to be the last book in the series. And I'm getting farther and farther in the book, and I'm like, there's a lot of story left. And I get to the end, and it's like, he's standing on a hill, da-da-da-da-da-da, will be continued in book 4. I about threw the book across the room. I was like, what the fuck do you mean a book 4? This is supposed to be the end of it.
Did you read book 4?
I did.
I didn't.
Really?
Because when I read book 3, I also thought it was the end.
Yeah, I will say I enjoyed book 4 the second time through, because I was looking for a certain resolution, and I didn't get exactly what I thought we were going to get. But when I read it like a second time through, kind of knowing what was going to happen and just like taking in what it was, I enjoyed it a lot more.
When you realized it was Star Wars?
A little bit, yeah. But to me, a lot of John Wick 3 was action for action's sake. In John Wick 1 and 2, every action scene had a reason. He's going to get he's trying to get the car. He's trying to get to a certain person. He's trying to make it somewhere. This one, he's just running and killing people, and he's just running and killing people. And
now, I don't always think that's a bad thing,
not
right?
necessarily.
Like, I personally am probably the only person on Earth that owns all 3 Expendables movies. I own all 3. And if they come out with another one, I'll get that one too.
Yeah.
Because I watch that movie because it's action. You don't watch it for a story. You don't watch anything else. It's explosions, guns, mayhem, and I love it. But I watch it knowing I'm not going to get tied into any kind of story. Like, this is just what I want to do. But John Wick 1 created this level where it's action and a story.
It doesn't have to be this super deep story. Cool. You killed his dog his wife gave you. End of story. Makes sense. I'm on board. This one, like I said, he's running this way. Cuts his finger off. Oh, now he's going to go do this. Talks himself out of it. Goes and runs over here. Dude flips on him. Shoots him off the roof without killing him on purpose. But now I will say, I didn't take the time to think of it as setting up this Civil War angle that Naru brought up. So I don't like movies that are there purely to set up the next movie.
A movie shouldn't do that.
A movie that does that is a very touch and go thing. Some movies do it well. Almost no movie does it right. I will give you that. But then the excuse I will give, at least for me, was I went in to see, I saw John Wick 1. I'm like, oh, this elevated the action genre very high. Like, it did a lot for it. I saw John Wick 2 and thought, okay, this is a little bit much, but okay, I get it. You're loyal. You got rules and everything. And then at the end, I thought, if the smart thing to do, dude, is walk away. But you chose not to. Okay, you did what you did. You're going to pay the price. So for me, John Wick 3 was going to be all about get John.
But it wasn't. Show up.
Exactly. My point is I showed up.
30 minutes was. But
yeah,
then
from the second they flipped it, where he goes to Morocco, I'm like, Morocco? From that point, nothing made sense.
Right.
Not a single motivation makes sense.
Exactly.
Why is he willing to do this? He wants to live again.
And then give it up as soon as he gets over there.
The stupid pseudo-spiritual, pseudo-deep bullshit speech the guy gives him. Why do you want to do it? So I can live again. So you can live. What do you mean so you can live? So you can live and remember. Really?
Yeah.
That made no sense to me.
So the action scenes,
I wasn't watching for story. I was just watching to see the next.
I needed something though. Yes, I agree. I'm not watching for the story, but I need something to sink my teeth into story-wise, and there just wasn't.
Well, the problem is that they tried to set up the story.
They tried to set up
for. We're trying to grab onto a story. There isn't one to grab.
No.
Like, if you watch, and I'll keep doing it. The Expendables. When you watch the Expendables, you're just like, there is no story. Like, you know that. Like, I'm sure that Sylvester Stallone will tell you if you're going to see this for a story, you might want to go see The Lion King. Like, there is no story. But I'm super excited for The Lion King. But yeah, John Wick 3, I was not into it, but will you go see John Wick 4?
Absolutely. And I got to say this, I hope Halle Berry is there, and I hope it's better, because Halle Berry and those dogs, that badassery deserve to be in a better movie. That's all.
No.
Too much.
So I was talking to one of my buddies who also has extensive training in this.
Yeah.
Halle Berry's gun scene. She trained and trained and trained and trained, but the things she was doing, while maybe Naru thought it was cool, so there are two different ways to do things. There's the real way, and then there is the range-friendly way. And everything that Halle Berry was doing was range-friendly.
Define
Like
range.
it was not true to form.
What does that mean,
So-
range friendly?
Range-friendly means like you are hitting all the safety points. Like, I'm extending this, I'm doing this. This is perfect timing, perfect. Like, everything has to be calculated. You're facing a certain way
Because there's
Like, the
no
only
like
movements she
danger
was doing-
involved.
Right. The only movements she was making are range specific movements. Like, she would do a pivot left or a pivot right. That's a very basic shooting stance, and it's range appropriate because it's safe. But in real life, that shit doesn't work. Like, you're shooting.
So basically, the movie doesn't work for you guys because you have the training to see that it doesn't work.
So no, the problem is Keanu makes it look real, right? And some of it's not, and some of it's not Halle Berry's fault. I think some of her scenes were either written or edited funny. And all of and John Wick 1 and 2, he is constantly reloading his guns. They can almost make a point to show you, look, he is running out of ammo. This is not just Hollywood. Halle Berry had a pistol that got off like 30 rounds. Like, what the? No, that's dumb. And I don't know if that was an editing mistake or they wrote that scene.
So because they didn't show her reload the gun,
It wasn't just.
Never mind the fact that she killed
checked
20
it.
guys for a dog, and the dog didn't even.
The dogs are tight. I like the dogs.
I mean, they were cool, but it was a little much.
Listen,
I felt like it was in
She
there.
kills 20 people because some guy shot her dog, and the dog didn't die.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the hell?
He shot
These dog lovers
the
are
dog
insane.
in the vest. But that was
Listen,
funny.
You guys came to gripe. I love this movie. I had a great time. It was a fantastic experience, man. It
I
was
wouldn't call it a waste of money, but
No,
I was expecting more out of it.
Yeah, as a John Wick fan, I'm not mad that I paid to go see this movie in theater.
Yeah.
Because I don't know Keanu Reeves, but I know of the things he does in Hollywood where half of his Matrix paycheck was given to cancer research.
Well, that and the special effects guys.
Yeah. Like, the guy makes no money off of it.
And he bought Harleys for all the visual effects guys. There's a lot of stuff he does. He also apparently he funds a lot of children's
I
hospitals.
saw that one the other day too.
Yeah,
That's all he does.
he's a great guy.
Get it. He's a nice guy.
Yeah, I have no problem going to see the movie and supporting any movie that Keanu Reeves goes to. Fuck Tom Cruise. So getting
You gotta see. Keanu directed a movie called Tai Chi something.
Tai Chi Man.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
That one was okay.
Yeah, it wasn't great, but it was okay.
It was okay.
It was
But
neat.
you'll go see it in theaters because it's Keanu Reeves.
I don't think it had a
That's.
theatrical release, but
I would
would've.
definitely see everything that he does in theater. Him and oh gosh,
Dude, all I'm
that
saying.
movie in so long. Mark Wahlberg.
All I'm saying is, I watch movies about people jumping off buildings like they can.
Except Transformers.
I don't need Halle Berry. Halle Berry of all people. I don't need Halle Berry to.
Hey, do you want to see another movie about people jumping off buildings in shiny
Go for it.
suits? Let's talk about Robert Pattinson getting to Batman.
So I'll go first because my problem is I've never seen a movie with him. Let me rephrase that.
Twilight?
I've seen him in.
Your wife?
Neither
seen
one of us have ever watched. Well, I've never watched Twilight.
lucky.
I don't know if she's watched it or not. He was Cedric Diggory in Harry Potter, but he's in that movie for a grand total of like 10 minutes. So, that's the only thing I've ever seen him in. I haven't seen because there are people arguing because he's been in a lot of more recent movies. He's kind of like Zac Efron, where like Zac Efron caught a lot of crap until he started doing some real movies. And I think Robert Pattinson's trying to do that, and I respect him for that. I haven't seen any of his stuff, so I can't really judge it.
He's just, to me, not a good actor.
Like I said, I don't know.
What have you seen him in?
Besides Twilight.
So, No, there have been a couple of other movies.
Jason would never admit to seeing Twilight.
No, I can't remember the movies that he's been in.
Not
I'm
by
sitting here
himself,
looking
anyways.
at these pictures, and I've seen some with him in it, and maybe it was just when he was younger. Hopefully, he's went through acting lessons. He just fell flat, like. And I
There's a
mean,
movie
I'll
he
give
did-
it. Batman is not a character that's going to be up and down, right? Like he's pretty fucking flat. But getting to this, what Naru says, oh, they always take B-level, actors and make them Batman.
I was kidding about that, but my
Always
point
gay
was
actors.
my point was it's not always the best, most the top 5 or top 10 of actors in the world who gets the role. The point is, can you find a guy like, for example, was Keanu Reeves the best actor in the world when they cast him as Neo? No. Was he awesome in the role? Yes. So for me, it depends on what Matt Reeves wants to do. Matt Reeves is a guy who I trust his judgment in terms of how he makes his movies. Everything he's done so far is something I can look at and think, yeah, that's a good movie. Okay. So if he and again, this hasn't even been confirmed. It's just everybody's just talking about it. If it does happen that Matt Reeves actually wants this guy in the role, I trust Matt Reeves, number one. I've
He's been cast.
Say again?
4 days ago, Robert Pattinson was cast.
Again, until Warner Brothers actually announces it, I'm like, yeah, whatever.
Okay.
Because I actually remember a time, believe it or not, when Freddie Prinze Jr. was actually they shook his hand on CNN Showbiz back in the 90s. That's for winning the role of Spider-Man. Never happened. So until I see it, I'm not going to believe it. But I will say this: if it does happen, I'm not going to rule out the guy just because he did Twilight. That's just my take. Because you and I both know when Chris Evans was cast as Captain America, a lot of people were like, "What?" Because I, for one, thought Chris Evans couldn't really bring the gravitas that Captain America needed to the role. I can
understand that notion.
I was so wrong.
My 2 cents on this, because I like to think that I'm from the Bat family sometimes. So my 2 cents, when they cast Ben Affleck as Batman, the internet turned upside down. They hate Ben Affleck. They hate everything. They hate this. They hate that. And the Robert Pattinson is the same thing. They're going to flip upside down. And I'm going to say the same thing now that I said then. I'm going to wait and see how he does in that first movie to cast judgment. Because if it's a younger Batman, that's fine. Because he's a young-looking guy. Younger Batman, that's fine. Batman doesn't need to have a wide range of emotions. Actually, he's not supposed to. So maybe it's a good casting. The guy's got the jawline for it. I can say that.
I want to see him as Terry what's-his-face, Batman Beyond, and get Michael Keaton back as Old Man Batman. That would be dope.
That would be cool. That would be cool. But
you want to see him as what?
I want to see him as Batman Beyond, and Michael Keaton come back and be Old Man Bruce.
I've seen that, yeah.
Dude,
I've seen people calling for that, and I'm I'm so down for that. Like,
right?
If that was the choice, I'm like, hell yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, let's make that movie.
Right.
But I'm just saying, I'm gonna hold off my judgment because I love Ben Affleck's Batman. Like, people hate it, but I still think that is the most badass Batman that we've gotten on the big screen.
I'll say
that fight scene you cannot argue.
When he was
the
cast,
warehouse one.
Yeah, man, that's what other fight scene.
Yeah, right.
That's the fight scene.
That's the superhero fight.
That
scene.
is the Batman fight scene. Everything else over the last
just
100 years takes. They're all competing for second place. That's the Batman bat scene. When I heard the story about Robert Pattinson, this is gonna sound funny, but I suddenly really started missing Ben Affleck. I suddenly missed him so bad. I thought about that Batman, and I thought about the fact that Batman was the most like the Arkham games Batman I've ever seen. Like the most big, bulky, badass looking bad dude that I actually went and started playing Arkham Knight.
The question is going to be: can Pattinson fight? Because
That's true.
I'm a fan of taking fighters and teaching them to act versus
Iron
taking an actor
Fist.
and teaching them to fight right.
I'm not worried about that because he's gonna fight in the suit. It can be anybody in the suit.
That's true.
I'm
Well,
okay with it. And if they
that's
do
not
that, I'm okay with that. I can. That's
Unless
fine.
they have extensive scenes, like if they do a year one type story where he does more of a just wear even then there's a mask. Like it doesn't matter what role, what kind of Batman you get, whether it's year one where he's on the street in some kind of together
that's
costume.
Fine. If they go that route, I'm okay with it because teaching actors to fight, it's a coin flip.
Yeah.
50-50 One other question. Can you point to, okay, let's put it this way. Forget the Batman. Can he pull off a Bruce Wayne?
Well, like we just said, anybody can be in the Batman suit.
Bruce Wayne.
So I will say the best Bruce Wayne to me was Christian Bale.
Yeah.
I liked Christian Bale's Bruce Wayne because it was a real Bruce Wayne because he's Batman, he's doing all these things, and then Alfred's like, no, it's not what billionaires do. And he's like, oh, crap. Like, all right, so now I'm going to just throw away money like a billionaire so no one looks at me. So it was the most believable Bruce Wayne because if you have this huge secret and then you walk around brooding all the time, people are going to be like, man, he looks a lot like Batman.
Yeah.
But if you drive up in a purple Lamborghini and supermodels are falling out of your car, they're going to be like, that guy is so irresponsible. He could never be Batman. So to me, that was like the realest Batman or Bruce Wayne. What about you, Tank? Who do you think the best Bruce Wayne was? If you say George Clooney, you were getting out.
Problem is,
Val Kilmer. You say Val Kilmer, you're done.
It's been so long since I've seen Val Kilmer's Batman. That only leaves. So I mean,
best looking Batman.
Now Bruce Wayne, Tank. Best
looking Bruce Wayne.
Bruce Wayne.
Best looking Bruce Wayne.
I mean, yeah. 'Cause, I mean, we didn't really see Ben Affleck as Bruce Wayne like at all. So I mean, that leaves Christian Bale. I mean, I guess sure, because who would you? All right, Nuru, who you gonna give it to then?
Here's the thing. I love the story they told with Bruce Wayne in the Nolan movies. Like, I really like the direction they took, the path and everything. Nolan did that part right. That's why I still love Batman Begins way more than, anything else. I really don't think, Christian Bale could convincingly, in my opinion, pull off the billionaire playboy. Like, that just never worked for me. Like, I get everything they've made him do, but that would have worked much better with a whole different actor for me in that role.
That's all writing.
Again, that's what I'm saying. So I like the writing they gave him. I like the story they gave him, the things he did, the girls he brought, the way he bought the hotel, all that stuff. Yeah, that's Bruce Wayne. That's the kind of stuff he does to disguise from the fact that he's Batman. I get it. But there's never going to be a time I'm going to look at Christian Bale and think, billionaire playboy, this guy's having fun and girls are falling all over him. No, it just doesn't work for me. Having said that, that's why I said best looking. The guy who looked the best, the baddest, the guy who looked like, ooh, that's your Bruce Wayne right there. That's your pretty boy billionaire who just does nothing and just loafs around all day. Val Kilmer. No one else comes close. Everybody else like second place in terms of the guy who looks the part. Unfortunately,
Ben
that
Affleck
movie.
in that suit as an old Batman, as an old Bruce Wayne.
He
Ben Affleck, he's wearing that suit pretty nice.
Again, we're talking about who looks like the billionaire, the guy who walks the red carpets, the guy who looks he's so famous, that sort of thing. It's still going to be Val Kilmer in his prime, not today.
Yeah.
Valley Kilms like this.
Yeah,
Robert Downey Jr.'s like this.
Yeah.
And then they met in the middle of that kiss, kiss, bang, bang. Have you guys seen that? Key and Peele.
I haven't seen it yet. I have to admit.
Oh my gosh.
I know it's terrible.
It's called Robert Downey Jr. And they're talking about like Robert Downey Jr.'s career. And they're like, man, he was like at the bottom. And then he was like coming up like this. And now Valley Kilmer's is like this. And they met in the middle. It's so funny.
Yeah, man. I haven't seen it yet. I keep wanting to and I haven't. I feel ashamed of myself.
You guys have to watch that. But so we'll get into our last bit of news here. And it's going to go into a galaxy far, far away, a long, long time ago, when some people from Game of Thrones are now writing Star Wars.
we circle back to it.
The writers.
Did you say D as in letter D? D
No,
writers?
No, he said
THE.
the.
The
Okay.
writers.
Because I probably leave that to Jason.
So we're circling back, and the guys that are actually, that wrote Game of Thrones, the TV series, not the books,
The last two
the
seasons.
last 2 seasons of Game of Thrones are doing the next, 3 movies of Star Wars, correct?
They wrote.
Now we'll stop right there for a second, because episode 9 that comes out in December is the end of the Skywalker
Yes.
saga, whatever you want to call it, right? So these guys are picking up
Fresh. Brand
from
new.
wherever this leaves off with a brand new group for a new story in a universe that's already built, so they don't have to build anything.
That's debatable.
Can you guys see the excitement on my face?
I can hear it in your voice.
Yeah. So, without saying anything about Game of Thrones, I'm going to say these guys need to take some lessons. They need to understand that if they make one wrong move, they will be replaced. Like, Disney will replace you. Like, they're not going to fuck around like HBO. Disney will replace you. Look at Marvel movies. Look at the people that have already been replaced on Star Wars movies. Do not fuck around with Star Wars, because Disney, you do not fuck with Disney's money. I don't think these guys, I think they will write something, but ultimately I do not think they will be moving forward in Star Wars anything. What do you think, Tank?
Have they written anything else?
Guess what their next big idea after Game of Thrones was? A series about an alternate version of America where slavery was never abolished.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
That was their next big
That was
idea.
shot down quick.
You think? That was like, I'm like, wait a second.
I think these guys will write something. They will write something. George Lucas will look at it. Disney will look at it, and they will say, next.
George Lucas has no say.
Yeah, I think he has to have some kind of like. He doesn't get the final say, but he has to be there to say this is or isn't in line with anything I've already done.
And then they're gonna ignore
Like, Disney has the final say, obviously.
He's probably still a producer.
The guys that look, he sold Lucasfilm. There's a group. I forget what they call them. There's a group that looks over all this stuff and makes sure there's continuity, consistency, and the stories are falling in line with everything.
Right.
You can take certain risks, like episode 8, but at the end of the day, there's a limit to what you can and cannot do. And I'm really curious to know when the decision was made to give these guys Star Wars. Like, I get that they might have made the decision. I'm thinking they may have made the decision
Prior to them, it was when they were writing for Game of Thrones.
I think it was the decision may have been made while they were finishing up, or they made after they just did season 7. I bet you right now, after seeing season 8 of Game of Thrones, whoever said, "Yeah, let's go with these guys," is going, "Oh shit." Yeah. So send us early versions of the script real quick. Just let's take a look.
That's what I'm saying. They're gonna look at it, and I don't think these guys are gonna make it very far. I just don't.
Let's put it this way: they have a lot to prove.
Star Wars is hands down one of the largest franchises on Earth. So to take that and fuck it up, like, so many things. So if somebody turned it over to me and Tank, right? Hey, you guys write the next Star Wars. I would probably commit suicide, because that is the heaviest.
That is the definition of pressure.
Yeah, like, if you fuck up one thing, you're not only is your career over, but
Let's put it this way.
Like,
I think of myself as a writer, or as I can write a little bit, right? I think I can't act to save anybody's life. I would rather act in a Star Wars movie than write anything for a Star Wars movie. Does that make sense? Like, I'm not a guy who wants to see myself acting, but I'd rather do that. Like, yeah, I do the thing I don't want to do. Do this. That's super. The pressure. Oh my god.
There's a lot of pressure there.
I mean, there is. I mean, but I don't know. I guess because I haven't finished Game of Thrones. I'm only halfway through it. Literally, I just finished season 4. And it's like you just said. It's yes, they may be the writers, but the team behind a Star Wars movie is so big that, like, if the writers come up with a shit script and they let it go through, is that just on the writers? Because how many people, have to okay a script before they even start recording, So, I don't know. In Disney, we trust. I mean, how many, you can probably count on your own
Really?
one
Do you
hand.
trust Solo?
It wasn't a terrible movie. It just wasn't a good movie.
It wasn't a terrible movie. It was a good movie. It wasn't a great movie.
No, that's what I'm saying. It was just
Rogue
good.
One. Where are those guys?
Those
Can they-
guys,
right?
Rogue
They
One
write
was
another movie,
Right?
Like, yo,
Like, what happened with?
My
Yeah.
problem with Solo, and I think they've learned from Solo, because they're like, hey, they're like sitting in their like boardroom, and they're like, everyone wants a Solo movie, and then they announced it, and everyone was like, we don't want a Solo movie, but they're like, no, you do, it's okay, it's fine. And when it finally came out, and then it tanked, they all looked at each other and like, okay, well, maybe they tried to tell us and we didn't listen, right? So it's like, all right, cool, now let's do something else. So,
I wanted a Solo movie, but not with a guy who looked nothing like Harrison Ford.
I mean, that's whatever. Like,
And it was cheesy, and to me, Solo should have been more along the lines of like Cowboy Bebop mixed with Rogue One.
okay.
Like an outlaw, just like the Jesse James of the fucking galaxy, just being a badass. I don't know. That's just not here nor there. But speaking of badasses and other galaxies and vagabonds and rebels and shit, let's just go ahead and talk about Galaxy's Edge.
What?
Anybody know what Galaxy's Edge is? Okay, that is the name of the portion of the Disney parks. All right? So it is Star Wars Galaxy's Edge inside of Disneyland, which opened on May 4th. No rides were open.
Really?
Yeah, no rides. Just that part of the park.
That seems like a waste.
Well, you get to see like the Millennium Falcon and a whole bunch of other things that they have built. You just don't get to ride anything.
I guess.
So what I will say about this is, so we took the girls to Disney World when they opened the Avatar. I don't remember whatever the name of it is. Avatar. So they opened that.
Pandora.
We had no idea. Pandora. There we go. We had no idea that it was opening.
Oh, nice.
Wait lines. So we did ride the rides, but we had like the magic hours. So we went like an hour, 2 hours before anyone else.
Yeah.
Like a 30-minute wait, not that bad.
No.
When we came out, it was a 4-hour wait.
Yep.
The day it opened, it was an 8-hour wait.
Yeah, no, that's
So your entire day, you were in line to do this ride.
stupid.
No, that's ridiculous. And they would, when we were walking out of the ride, they escorted us out of Pandora because they had reached capacity.
Oh, yeah.
So I was like, what do you mean you reached capacity? So everyone hated that weekend except my family because we rode that one ride, got the fuck out, and then we rode Mount Everest like 30 times. Because
What's
there were
magic hours?
So magic hours is if you stay at a Disney property, you can go to the parks. Like certain parks will stay open late just for people staying at Disney hotels.
Like an hour or two.
So yeah, we go and we stay at the Disney hotel every time because we just take the bus. It's easy. The Disney hotels are almost the same price as a hotel outside of Disney.
Just about.
So it really just doesn't make sense. And then parking is like $40 a car or something like that now.
Yeah.
So the reason that maybe you guys haven't heard of Galaxy's Edge or anything like that is because of this Pandora fiasco that happened about 2 years ago. So I follow a whole bunch of Disney stuff. My family, we are Disney people. We love going to Disney. And it is a huge thing in all of these Disney forums that no one is going this summer.
Really?
No one is going to the opening of Galaxy's Edge unless they have a season pass and they live down there.
Right.
Like, no one is going because they want to avoid that.
Yeah.
So next summer, Star Wars is going to be fucking packed because everyone's trying to avoid opening day. So right now, if you look on Disney.com, you can get hotels dirt cheap. Ticket prices are down. Like, everything is down because they're trying to push people to do this stuff. And this is going to be one of the lowest summers of Disney's history because Star Wars World is opening, but nobody wants to be packed inside the Millennium Falcon.
Just so we're clear, all the uber Disney fans are going to not go.
Oh, no. So
wait, hold on. The majority, whatever.
Right.
They're going to avoid going because they don't want to have the bad experience. So they're going to end up going next year to create that bad experience.
Well, no one is saying, oh, I'm going to go next year and I'm going to create a bad experience. But everyone is avoiding going now or in August when it opens, unless they are like the Disney fanatic, right? Like the annual pass holder.
Like the ones that will stand in line for 8 hours.
Right. So unless there are those people, they're not going. But it's because in August, now you have to take your kid out of school.
Yeah.
Like, you have to do all this extra shit. And when Star Wars World opened, it opened already in California. Yeah. As I said, no rides are open. The rides don't open until June. So in June, the Millennium Falcon ride will open. And then in late July, the second ride will open in California. Now, when Disney Orlando opens, both rides will be open.
Yeah.
But no one wants to go. And they're opening a Star Wars hotel, which sounds super dope.
Sounds incredible. That is the one thing.
Have you seen it?
I've seen concept art for it. I haven't seen anything recently. But
no real windows.
Really?
Not a single real window. So the window in your room, you open it, and it's a TV screen, right? But it's space.
That's fucking dope.
Because and it's gonna have a thing where you go out of your hotel into Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be like a little transport to get you down to the planet. It is a fully immersive hotel. And
I've heard stuff about it.
One of its kind.
So we don't normally stay on property because my in-laws have timeshares, and so even with the parking, we make out better not staying on property.
Right.
This is probably the one time I will just pay the extra and just stay because the concept art, because I hadn't even like really kept up with it like you have. Just the concept art and the concepts that they talked about on the internet when they were building it. I'm in. From my like everything I see, they make you feel like you're in the world, make you feel like a Jedi, make you feel like a whatever, and hearing about like the window shit, like that's so like those little things sound like so much fun, and being like start playing D&D and like kind of like immersing yourself in that world and putting on this character to play. That's almost what you get to do in this. It sounds like what you're gonna get to do in this hotel, and like you kind of like can be somebody else and kind of be this character while you're at this hotel, and that sounds like it'd be like so much freaking fun.
So to piggyback off of that, all of the stores in Galaxy's Edge, now there will be the hokey T-shirt or whatever, like when you get off the ride, but the majority of clothing and all things in Galaxy's Edge are going to be replicas of actual Star Wars things. So you can buy the Jedi robe in Galaxy's Edge. You can buy like the little thing Rey wears, like the hoodie with the pull on it. You can buy all of that stuff in Galaxy's Edge because that is the one place in Disney where they will let you walk around in cosplay. They want everyone to be in it.
That's dope.
Because this sounds all so cool, but I've never been to Disney World.
Okay.
My kids have never been. They keep bugging me. You gotta take it. I'm like, yeah, we'll figure it out. I have no idea what the costs could be. Like, what would
That's
it take?
we could do a whole show just on just on that.
Like, how much would it cost to do
Yeah.
that kind of thing? I mean, like Tank was talking about how his relatives have timeshares and all that, and it kind of makes it easier. I'm like, I don't even know how much
It's by no stretch of the imagination cheap, but
Yeah, so I look at Disney
But-
like going to Vegas, right? Like you don't go there saying I'm gonna save as much money as possible.
right.
You go there knowing that the money you spend is gone.
Yeah.
Like it's gone. But I would say like when my family and I go for a week, so I've got 2 kids, we have another on the way, me, my wife, when we go for a week, it's probably right around $2,000, like $2,500. We put about $3,000 in a vacation fund.
Yeah.
So it's like any food, anything like that, we don't have to worry about it. Now we don't spend all of that, but we just go knowing if we use all of this, we're okay.
Yeah.
Right.
It's fine. We're good. So it's not a cheap vacation at all, but it is one that is good.
At a minimum to go once. Like if you just like it's one of those things that it is worth, even if it takes you 2-3 years or whatever to save up and go do it once, it's worth going to do it once and going for a full week. And what's nice is like you don't have to spend a day at every park because not every park needs a whole day, but there are parks that you could spend a day and a half, 2 days at. And so it's worth going once and getting, because it really is a whole different experience down there. And like they really do, like you go to Six Flags, not a good comparison, but it's like, okay, you go rides, whatever, and then you leave. Disney, it is a world. It is a whole like immersive experience that you don't get anywhere else.
They've built everything. Disney is a theme park, like straight up theme park.
Yeah.
Whereas I would say everything else is an amusement park.
Yes.
Like the themes and the art. Like shit, I could spend a whole episode talking about the art at Disney. My father-in-law used to take stuff down there, and he said that he brought brand new wood to one of the parks while they were building the Animal Kingdom. And they said, no, this isn't going to work. So they tied the wood behind a truck, drove it around for 4 hours, dragging the wood to make it look weathered and real. Then they paid an artist to paint it. Thousands of dollars to paint the wood to make it look like it came from that part of the world.
Okay,
Like,
then.
Yeah.
It's
Considering that maybe 3 families showed up and paid for all that, I don't know.
Well, just saying. Hey, when that Star Wars hotel opens, maybe we could all do a live show from the Star Wars hotel. That shit would be dope.
Yeah.
From a galaxy far, far away.
Yo.
That'd be nuts.
But
Budget.
anyway,
Nuts.
there was a little bit of news that we covered this week. Really wanted to dive deep into a lot of things. So we just put our fingers in everything. And that's how you go to jail in high school. But other than that, hey, if you guys want to catch me, you can find me at Houdini0333 on Twitter and Instagram. Tank, tell them where they can find you.
Yeah, you guys can find me all over the internet at The Caped Critic. Again, keep on our social medias. We got some cool convention stuff coming up this summer. So, make sure you check us out.
Cons.
Yep.
Naru, tell them where they can find you, buddy.
Find me on Twitter and Instagram at the Nija Nerd.
And Naru will be keeping up with our website and our social media presence. So, on that note, hey, from all of us here at the workplace, peace.